Welcome to the PharmaSource podcast. In today's episode, we go inside the Dutch biotech ecosystem. The Netherlands is home to a wide range of top pharma companies, up-and-coming biotechs, many suppliers and contract manufacturing partners, and is the new home of the European Medicines Agency. The country is known for innovation and is Europe's most connected life science metropolis, consistently ranking number one on the DHL Connectivity Index. Indeed, when we at PharmaSource were looking for a home to launch our event CDMO Live, we quickly decided that Rotterdam in the Netherlands was the ideal place for us. So in this episode, I'm joined by Wieteke Wouters, Programme Director of Holland Bio, Esther Peters, Leiden Bioscience Parks Director, and Rotterdam Square's Ellen Smit. We discuss how the country's biotech ecosystem fits together, the current funding environment, and why so many global pharma companies are choosing the Netherlands as their European hub. This is just a small sample of what we'll be talking about at CDMO Live on the 7th to the 8th of May. So to find out more, you can register at cdmolive.com. We start off by talking about the role of Holland Bio.
Yeah, thank you, Luc, for this kind introduction. I am Wieteke Wouters. I'm Program Director at Holland Bio, and Holland Bio is the Dutch industry association that advocates to maximize biotech's contribution to our society. So when it comes to health or sustainability or welfare, and what we're aiming for, we represent over 260 biotech companies, all established in the Netherlands. And together we strive for a flourishing ecosystem, for government support, for biotechnology. And we focus on innovative frontrunners because, of course, if you're at the forefront, you're always bump into the limitations of existing rules and regulations first. And we are convinced that if we try to help these innovative frontrunners first, that all innovative companies that come behind it will flourish as well. Well, we are the industry association, and actually what we do is advocacy at our government, national government, but also in Europe. We offer a number of member benefits for our member companies that make life a bit easier when you're active in biotech. So you get a lot of discounts when you purchase laboratory disposables or equipment, but also discounts to leading events such as the CDMO Live. And last but not least, we organize a lot of networking events. So if you are active in the Netherlands, Holland Bio is your go-to strategy to become a member and to get access to the community.
Wieteke, thank you. Ellen, I wonder if I could turn to you now, please. Tell us about Rotterdam Square and what it is that you do there, please.
Yes, thank you, Luc. As you said, my name is Ellen Smit. I'm the Managing Director of Rotterdam Square, which is the campus organization of Erasmus MC Campus. We are in the air, let's say, since 2022, so quite young still in the life science and health sector within the Netherlands. Erasmus MC is our big shareholder. And what we try to do, or our goal is to bring together experts in healthcare, science and technology from academia and from industry to accelerate health and tech innovations and create healthcare solutions for the future. So what we try to do is build an innovative ecosystem within the Rotterdam region. Mm-hmm. Although we have a more health and tech focus in the Rotterdam region, we also have biotech companies present in our region. So they are also involved sometimes with Holland Bio. They are involved with the whole value chain and work with these kind of companies, the CMO companies that can produce for them. So, but as I said, we are more into the health and tech side, so medical devices and diagnostics are very important in our region.
Yep, and obviously collaborating very closely with Erasmus, as you mentioned.
We are based at the Erasmus MC campus itself. So Erasmus MC, we are based in Erasmus MC itself too, and it's slightly different than other locations in the Netherlands. We are in the city center, so the campus is quite small in that way, but we use site locations also where companies can be based, and these are also part of the Rotterdam ecosystem, but also part of what we call Erasmus MC Campus and the Rotterdam Square ecosystem.
Thank you. And we've also got Esther Peters, Director of Leiden Bioscience Park, which I'm pleased to say we're going to be taking delegates from CDMO Live to during the event. We're working closely with the Halex Biologics facility, which is at Leiden. So we'll actually be taking people from Rotterdam to Leiden, which I believe is the biggest science park within the Netherlands. Maybe you could tell us about that, Esther.
Thank you so much, Luke, for this warm introduction. Indeed, well, Esther Peters, Director of Leiden Bioscience Park, we are celebrating 40 years of anniversary this year. At least it started last year in April, but we are celebrating it the whole year. And we are the first bioscience park of the Netherlands and also the largest. It's really a science park focused on biotech, bioscience. It's in our name, but it covers the whole range of life sciences and health. So from prevention and lifestyle towards cell and gene, of course, regenerative medicine, vaccines and infectious diseases, but also technological innovations like organ on a chip, parties like Mimetas, VitroScan, for instance, and data and AI. We are also, as Leiden Bioscience Park, quite strong at. So it's a quite comprehensive bioscience park, of course, also with some focus points. And we have multinationals like Johnson & Johnson and Bristol Myers Squibb on site, but also a lot of startups and scale-ups and promising scale-ups like Leiden Labs, for instance, and Alesta that raised last week. Leiden Labs 75 million and Alesta 65 million. So that's really, really great. But we can elaborate on that later, maybe when we come to the funding part. But I think, what's quite unique, I think it's definitely a hub strongly built on talent and on knowledge. We have from vocational education, applied sciences towards universities, including, of course, the medical center, but also research institutes like Naturalis, TNO, of course. So the knowledge part is quite strong, and that's also, of course, what every innovation hub has as a remarkable thing. But I think the fact that we have the whole chain, and especially when it comes to manufacturing, is getting more and more important also to have this vocational education on board. So when we look at our human capital agenda, that's really also an important focus point for us.
Thank you very much. When you think about the Netherlands, I think one of the first things that comes to mind is how interconnected it is. Esther, was it you who said it's like one city?
Yeah, I would say the Netherlands is a city, especially if you compare it, of course, to big cities internationally.
Yeah.
We definitely are. And I think we are well connected. We can always do better, but I think we are well connected, and we can be proud of the various ecosystems we have. Yes.
How do you break that down, all of the different innovation hotspots within the Netherlands? So you've obviously got universities, research institutes, biotech clusters. What would you say those main components are, please? Maybe Vitica, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, well, I think indeed, as you said, the Netherlands is a really small country, but highly dense in innovation and biotech activities. And they're all, most of the science parks, such as Rotterdam and Leiden, are connected to one knowledge institute. So maybe a university or an academic medical hospital that is highly engaged into biotech, and also often has strong connections with the schools for applied science. And what you see is that, of course, a really strong research-based fundamental research translates into entrepreneurship, and as well it triggers the wish to not just publish state-of-the-art science, but also to bring that further along from bench to society to make sure that we get products that improve our health And that's also the way these science parks, of course, are built. So the anchor often is a knowledge institute, and that attracts a lot of entrepreneurship, starting entrepreneurs, but also big companies that, of course, are always looking for state-of-the-art science, but also talent, and you can find them everywhere in the hotspots in the Netherlands, and most of them have a unique expertise that they really focus on one biotech application, for example, but others are really, more general. And I think, if you're looking for a great place to establish yourself, it doesn't really matter whether you're in Groningen or in Utrecht or in Maastricht or in Leiden, because it's a really small country and you can just get around easily.
The Netherlands consistently comes up as DHL's number one in the connectivity index. Whenever I speak to people about coming to Rotterdam, most people have experience in going to Amsterdam and associate obviously Schiphol with Amsterdam, but it's so close to Rotterdam or Leiden, it really is fast.
Yeah, it's absolutely the case. We are very happy to have a central station at Leiden Bioscience Park, which is quite unique. Of course, it also brings challenges, but it's great to see literally in 15 minutes you are from Schiphol Airport here, but easily also in Utrecht. And I think there's no party here at Leiden Bioscience Park who is not connected to other hotspots, either in the Netherlands or internationally. Because, as you mentioned, it is our payoff is the future of health. We are working on the future of health every day, and it can only get to the patient if we really make that translation. That means that we really need to facilitate this entrepreneurial journey from the first idea towards in the whole journey towards application. And you cannot. It's great to have those innovation hubs as Leiden Bioscience Park, and at the same time, those hubs also need to be connected to each other, because in the end, it's about that innovative solution. It's about that breakthrough, and therefore we need to share the valuable knowledge that we have, and we have such a rich knowledge here in the Netherlands. And I think the willingness to share that knowledge is big, and of course, we as Innovations Hub tried to stimulate that as much as possible within our ecosystem, and we facilitate serendipity wherever we can around the topics. But I think the most important thing is that we stimulate open innovation, which means that it's never restricted to our borders. So also our events, they are also open for other players in the Netherlands, and that's also happening. When we have a life science cafe, startups are pitching, but it's also welcome for other startups from other hotspots, because it's also fueling our hotspots. So yeah, I think as a country, we can be proud to be as connected as we are.
Absolutely. Ellen, a question for you. What would you say some of the key things people should know about academia, and in particular, I suppose, Erasmus, and how important that is as part of this ecosystem?
Well, very important. Most of the startups that we have in the Netherlands are spin-offs from institutes like Erasmus MC, but also the other university medical centers that we have in the Netherlands. So a lot of them have their base within those institutes, and also we see that in Erasmus MC. But for us also important is to have these connections with other institutes also. Within Rotterdam, we also have the university, the Erasmus University, which also provides scientists around healthcare and economic side, or these kind of impact. And we also work very closely together with the TU Delft, the engineering university, which is, I think, around the corner for us, about 10 kilometers. I think Esther can also agree on that. There's also a lot of collaboration going on between the Leiden University and the Leiden University Medical Center and the TU Delft, because what we see is that not only the biotech side and making new medicines on biotech platforms, it's also important to bringing that technology side, and that in our province, we are based together, Leiden Bioscience Park and Rotterdam Square, or the Erasmus MC campus, are based in the province of South Holland. And we have all those assets there. So the universities are there, the science parks are there, the whole range that you have within the life science and health is there. And the collaboration between us is very important. So also from an academia research side, but also from an industry side, because we cannot do it without bringing those two different areas, let's say the research educational side and the industry side together, because they have to work together to get that product to the market.
Yeah. Vitika, a question for you. Interested to know your take on what the current government regulatory climate is like for biotech. Obviously, the European Medicines Agency, EMA, moved to the Netherlands, away from the UK fairly recently. What's your role for Holland Bio in building that regulatory environment?
Yeah, well, I'm really happy to say that our government has appointed biotechnology in all its applications, so not just health, but also sustainability or cellular agriculture, as one of its top key enabling technologies for the future. And of course, the aim is that that translates into a supportive government policy on all aspects of biotechnology, may it be really early research to the implementation of new products into our markets and, of course, in the EU. So there's really a strong ambition focus to maximize the potential of biotechnology for sustainability, for health, but also, of course, for our economy. Currently the government is building an action plan that will support our industry from each aspect that we need, so including the regulatory environment. And of course, the Netherlands, just as Esther just said, isn't an island. We're a part of the EU, and a lot of biotech laws and regulations have a European foundation. So there are European directives that are implemented nationally in all member states. And also there, Europe is really embracing the potential of biotechnology and just announced the establishment of the EU Biotech Act, which they're currently working on, which aims exactly to do the same, to make sure that the regulatory environment, but also the capital market, the risk appetite in Europe is really attractive to build biotechnology companies, to foster research, innovation, and to make sure that we are the first, or that we are, what you see now is that a lot of companies and science originates in Europe. But if you want to build a company somewhere along the line, companies move to the US, for example, because the capital market is more attractive there. And Europe really, really wants to step up its game to make sure that the companies that originate here do have the best chance to flourish here as well. So we are really positive when it comes to the future.
What would you say the biotech funding climate is very early on now in the year, how it was in 2024 and what the signs are for 2025? What would you say that it's like, Vitika?
Yeah, of course, it has been challenging. I don't think I say anything new there, but we are really positive. We see strong signs of recovery. We also just had a publication in a national paper that said that the Dutch Nasdaq-listed companies strongly outperformed the Nasdaq Biotech Index. And we see a lot of activities in our, quite established VC landscape in the Netherlands. We have a lot of leading funds, equity, Forbion, Biogeneration Ventures, Gilde, and they succeeded the last year in raising a lot of money for the funds to invest in biotech. And they are starting to spend. So Esther just mentioned Leiden Labs, for example, who was able to succeed in a funding round of 17 million last week, but also Cytrial, who raised 85 million, I think, the end of last year in December. So, we see that the market is picking up again. And, we hope that this is just indicative for what 2025 will bring
Fingers crossed. Same question to you too, please, Esther.
Well, I think indeed, after some tight years, it appears that the funding landscape, at least at the top, is becoming stronger. I think some interesting large acquisitions, but also, as Wietke also already mentioned, the Nasdaq, but also, recently in our ecosystem, Alesta and Leiden Labs, which is very promising. At the same time, I think that the funding in the first part, so the pre-seed remains quite good with government funding schemes, but at least still the biggest valley of death is and remains before the commercial VCs really can take over. So that is and stays, I think, a point of attention. So also there, I think we have to strengthen ties, also in terms of getting more and more life sciences and health VCs also as a country, as the EU, because we depend a lot still on American money. So that's, I think, a challenge we have together.
Yeah, and it's something that we see as well, that the VCs are investing bigger tickets late stage, and that we are moving towards a winner takes it all system. And of course, that's not what you want if you have a very risky biotechnology market.
Yeah, it also asks, of course, consistent policy from government side, and it is a unique market, and it's important that also as a country we understand that it asks another approach towards this market.
Yeah, I can agree on that. I think it's very important to mention that we have the regional development agencies within the Netherlands for the early stage phase of funding. So they are very important, and they also bring a broad network with them. But as Esther and Wietke already mentioned, what we see is medtech is quite difficult at the moment, but we are now more into biotech. But what we also see is that the biotech VCs that we have in the Netherlands are more operating also in Europe. That's what we see. So that the chance of a Dutch company finding money is getting less, because they also have their funds ready for other opportunities within Europe. And then I think that changed a bit in the last couple of years. And that also makes it more challenging for biotech companies, startups from within the Netherlands, to find more money. Although you have great examples of companies who manage that. And also a lot of them are going to the US for money, but still you want to keep it also in your own area. Mr. Draghi said that we need to be more inventive within Europe. So we also should have more money available between the early stage phase and the later stage, have money there available, and don't know if we can have our influence in that as campus organization, but at least we can think about it with each other, how maybe we can be involved in these kind of developments.
Yes, and I also think, because it's a great thing, of course, that life sciences technology is now one of the 6 key technologies chosen by the EU, and also in the Netherlands technology strategy. It's a key technology. So it's already important. It's always important to collaborate strongly with each other, but I think it's even more important in the coming years also to make sure that we can get more money also out of the EU. Also there we can see how we as innovation hubs within Europe can be more connected. So as Leiden Bioscience Park, we are also exploring that, where our logical partners are on topics like cell and gene and regenerative medicine, where we are already very strong at. So I think that there are also challenges, I would rather say opportunities there.
One of the points I'd like to understand a bit more, I think, is what's the gap or the grey area between EU directives and how they're actually implemented at a regional or national level, and how do you navigate that?
Yeah, that's a great question with a very complicated answer.
I think it's a great question for you, Wietke.
I thought so too.
In Europe, you have directives and you have regulations, and they vary. So some of them are implemented European-wide in every member state exactly the same. That's regulation. And you have directives where as a member state, you have the autonomy to, within the framework, implement them the way that fits your country the best, or fits the local ecosystem. So sometimes that's, quite a challenge, because for each and every member state, you have a different set of rules, different procedures to, for example, get a permit if you're active in gene and cell therapy. But on the other hand, it enables member states to push the envelope to make sure that as a country, you have the best and fastest and less bureaucratic procedures, and that triggers other member states to be better as well. So it is a hassle if you're a multinational and you have to find your way in each and every member state. But I think sometimes it's a positive thing because, well, you're not stuck to the status quo, and member states are actively challenging the status quo and making sure that the procedures are fit for purpose, and that as a country you can try to be the front runner in a certain area, a certain application of biotechnology, or, well, whatever you need. But it depends which regulation there is. And for example, funding, of course, we have state aid rules that are EU-wide. But if you want to, as a member state, you do have the ability to set up your own funding arrangements, subsidies, for the applications that you feel need funding.
I think programs like Eurostars and EIT Health are prominent funding sources for biotech in the Netherlands. However, I think these programs have, in general, quite high administrative thresholds and reporting demands, and that makes them less accessible, I think, to smaller, resource-strapped startups. So I think that is something, we have to realize.
Yeah, and on the other hand, these European funding schemes are quite big tickets. So it's and the Dutch are quite good at getting the European money, and that sometimes works against us because, of course, as the EU, you want to spread the money among the member states, and then they say, "Well, I know that's a Dutch company again. We had enough of them, so let's pick someone else now."
Exactly, and there I think it does help if we have those European connections warm and in check.
Yeah, fully agree.
No, but you're right. We are quite successful at it.
Yeah.
Completely agree. But it takes a lot of time.
It does.
And a lot of effort to get this funding towards your, at least for the companies.
Yeah.
As a campus organization, it's a little bit different, of course.
Yeah, and depends on the size of your company, whether you're capable.
Of also, yeah.
One of the main focuses for our listeners is around manufacturing. So it'd be great to talk a little bit about the Netherlands manufacturing ecosystem. There's a number of big players and smaller players, many CDMOs and manufacturers who are based in the Netherlands. The list includes big players such as Thermo Fisher, who opened up a facility last year, but also Hallex, based in Leiden, who we're going to be visiting in May, Ardina, Batavia, Delpharm, Choapak on the contract packaging side. What's your take on the state of manufacturing in the Netherlands, and I guess why it's thought to be such a great place to have supply chain and logistics?
Well, Esther, your park has a lot of those companies present there.
Yes, well, I think, you were asking the question about the Netherlands. I think we have a strong and well-established pharmaceutical manufacturing landscape, supported by CDMOs, of course, and indeed in Leiden, bring us back to Leiden. We have big players like Hallex, like Batavia, and they play an essential role. They also played, of course, during the COVID period, a very essential role.
Yeah.
So it's great to have them in the ecosystem, and also it fuels our ecosystem, both back to from manufacturing, also back to the research part, because it's constantly this loop that's why we can stay in the front runner seat, I think, as Leiden by Science Park, but also as the Netherlands.
Yeah, and I think they're also, and COVID proved that they're really important also from a strategic autonomy perspective. They're crucial. And I'm really happy that the government sees that as well now, because I think those companies were a bit invisible before, but now everyone knows the importance, and I think that's really a good thing. And one thing, I think it might not just be that they're established in the Netherlands, but I also think the CDMOs are really good because they have the Dutch spirit, Dutch entrepreneurship, and it's really like no nonsense. We deliver, we do what we promise, Dutch directness. I don't know if you heard about it, but we're not really good in diplomacy. We mostly say what we think out loud. But that's also, if you're engaging with a service provider, that's a really good thing because you know that we will deliver and that we offer quality. And I think that's of course, if you need a reliant partner with state-of-the-art facilities, then Dutch companies are really your go-to providers, I think.
Yeah, and they operate worldwide. From the Leiden or the Netherlands, somewhere based in the Netherlands. And for us also, although we don't have a CMO or CDMO within the Rotterdam region, it's very important to have them in the Netherlands because we have these biotech companies who need them. Maybe not in this phase yet, but in the future. And it's always easy when they are just around the corner for these kind of companies. And if they are very qualified and well-known and have their hun strepen gehaald, I don't know how you say that in English. It's a really typical Dutch thing. That it's so nice that we have these collaborations and that we know each other. So it's quite easy also for these startups or scale-ups to get in contact with these companies. And I think that's important. And also we are very, very well located within Europe, I think, with Schiphol airports close by. We have the Rotterdam harbor, of course. We have great infrastructure by roads to go to other parts of Europe. So I think that also has an asset when it comes to the logistics of what was manufactured. And I think that's also a great asset for the Netherlands as a country.
Yes, and I think also because they are located often in innovation hotspots, I think the entrepreneurial spirit, what Wietke mentioned, is very remarkable, and that also comes with the always the wish to innovate, because it's already in the word. But if you are part of an innovation ecosystem, you are always challenged to improve, to innovate, and because it's so knowledge-based, and also the entrepreneurial part is so much stimulated in these hubs, we really see that also parties like Batavia, they keep on innovating, and therefore they can produce cheaper vaccines, for instance, and that really has a global impact. So also the accessibility is better, richer, wider. Yeah.
Great, thank you. I'm glad you mentioned those cultural points as well. That Dutch, direct approach to business.
Yeah, if there are countries where you can say no in 10 different ways, 8 of which start with yes, we don't do that in the Netherlands. You just have yes and you have no, and it means yes or no. So it's quite, some people are a bit shocked by it, but I think it really works well for transparency, for making clear appointments, making sure what to expect.
If you've got a drug development timeline and you've got milestones to get a new product to market, it's really important that you have that clarity.
Yeah.
One final question, if I may. I'd like to ask you all if you could just pick out one priority for your organization for the year ahead. And if we could start with you, Ellen.
Since we are still an early stage company, like a startup, we are still developing, of course. But one of the things that we are now running is a pilot project with radiology within Erasmus MC, to see how we can connect the companies outside working on imaging and radiology. And get them in a close relationship with the Erasmus MC, because most of the times it's difficult for companies to get connected with the researchers in there. They are very open open department within Erasmus MC would like to work with the business side in the industry. So that's one of our main aims, how that can work. If there are procedures that we can measure and see how we can better connect the industry within Erasmus MC in the near future. So this will be a pilot for us for the coming year. And we hope that will be the first step in bringing more company and industries within Erasmus MC to collaborate.
An important year ahead for Rotterdam Square.
Yeah, we're just building our name and we're building up our visibility. We're building up our name in the world. So that is very important for us too, because Rotterdam wasn't, with Erasmus MC, we have a big asset, but they were not really working on that, saying that life science and health is very important for Rotterdam. So that's one of the main aims for Rotterdam Square itself, to be more visible, to explain what we are doing, what the options are for collaboration in Rotterdam, and of course, bringing the researchers and the industry together.
Thank you. For Leiden Bioscience Park, Esther, what would you say one of the key priorities are for you in the year ahead, please?
I think what is key is talent. That's what we, what really is our strength, and also what will keep our big attention for the coming years, because if we want to grow, and we are still growing, I mean, that's really the backbone of our capability to grow. So really making sure that we have the conditions to be ready for our next development, because we are in a quite growing curve. It's amazing, and we have to keep up and being capable of growing further. So that's talent, and facilitating that talent, and having a good eye for our human capital and our human capital agenda is an important one, and also the fact that we are already well connected, but we have to make sure that we can stay well connected for the coming years. So when it comes to the basic infrastructure, we have to keep on investing that as well, to make sure that we are ready. And maybe one last thing, we see that data and AI is really something that it boosts our innovations very much. So we are also this coming year setting up our quantum incubator with a focus on life sciences and health. So also to be there ready for the next step. That's also one of our focus areas for this year, to set that up and to start that running.
Very interesting. Thank you. And then Vitka, if you call out one priority for Holland Bio in the year ahead, what would that be?
For Holland Bio, without doubt, the top priority for this year is making sure that all the great ambitions when it comes to public biotechnology ambitions from the government, whether it's on a national level or on the EU level, are translated into bold moves that really foster and boost the biotech ecosystem, and making innovative frontrunners flourish in Europe. And the second priority, of course, is making sure that we get a lot of new members for Holland Bio, because together we can make more impact. So
thank you so much to you all for your time today. I'm really looking forward to meeting you in person at the Rotterdam World Trade Center on the 7th to the 8th of May, when you all come down and join us for our panel discussion at CDMO Live. But for now, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Experience the future of contract manufacturing at CDMO Live 2025. Join us at the World Trade Center Rotterdam on May the 7th and 8th, 2025 for an exclusive event that brings together the sharpest minds in biopharma outsourcing. For 2 days filled with market insights, best practices and partnering. Early bird tickets are now available, so head to cdmolive.com to download the agenda and to book your ticket.